weekly videos. This week we decided we would do a video about the pole saws in the Silky range and how you put them together and how you extend them. So once you get this pole saw home, how do you stick the blade on, how do you get the poles apart, and how do you get it all working and safe and wonderful and efficient. So that's what this video is all about. Now the demonstration Shenae is going to do for you is with the Hayate pole saw, but this will apply to all the Silky pole saws except the fiberglass one, so don't worry, we'll talk about that another time. So if you've got a Hayauchi, a Hayate, a Forester, a Zubat, or a Longboy, this is going to be the same information for all of those pole saws. So I'm going to leave it to Shenae's capable hands now, and she's going to show you how to get this pole saw working properly.
So let's get started, and we'll start with putting the blade onto the pole saw. So just to keep in mind, when you're putting the blade onto the pole saw, you have the levers facing you. So here's the levers right there. So make sure to remind yourself, you're wanting to open the pole saw levers in front of you. Sorry to confuse you. And then you want to have the blade facing the opposite direction. It's going to be no fun to have the teeth in your face when you're trying to extend your pole saw.
That's such a good thing now.
Yeah. So starting with extending your pole saw, you want to start extending it from, you want to extend the Silky pole saw with the smallest pole and work your way down to the largest pole. So smallest to largest. But today we have a trick for you guys, unless you have massive, extremely long arms.
Inspector Gadget runs in your family.
You're going to want to listen closely. So you start off with unlocking all the levers. These levers help clamp all the poles together nice, securely and tightly. So you want to unlock all your pole saws. And then starting from the button, which is just below the largest clamp housing. So you press it and you stop. And then once you see the button appear again, you close that lever. That will stop the lever. That will stop this pole that you've just pulled out from sliding back in. So you want to press the button again, extend it till you see that button appear again, and then close this lever to lock this pole from coming back in. And
we're limited with space here, so sorry.
Very limited with space. And then this pole here, this is the smallest pole out of the whole section. So this is the pole that you want to fully extend. So you extend, 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 but you want to keep an eye out for, you want to keep an eye out on this hole particular here, because it will lock in. There will be another stopper button that will lock into that pole. So you've fully extended the first pole and you want to close it. So, but because we are limited in space, I'm not going to extend this whole pole saw in front of you.
So Shenae, why do we close that lever? Can we just leave that lever open?
No, you want to secure that pole. You want to secure this pole in place. You don't want it sliding back down.
But the button's there,
poles.
so won't that stop it from sliding down?
It does, but the levers help clam these poles together because this...
So what does the lever actually do when I close it?
Too many questions.
I'm pretending to be a customer. I'm a customer role today. Secretly, I know the answer.
You're the one that taught me. So you want to secure these pole saws down together because, say we have fully extended it, you don't want to have this pole falling out for any reasons, for obvious
So
reasons.
if I don't have that locked down, you're saying possibly the pole could fall out, but anything else could happen?
You will start, so when you're putting too much pressure on the pole as well, you will start to, if you don't have this lever locked down to clamp all the poles together, you will start to stretch the hole where this stopper button has popped through. The main reason is this is a hard steel and this is a soft aluminium. So putting too much pressure on the pole, it will start to stretch, because I will show you a demonstration now as why that happens. So having the lever unlocked, it will shake. And it will cause too much pressure throughout the whole pole.
And movement.
And movement, yeah. You don't want that to happen. But locking.
So when you lock it, what happens?
So when you lock it down, there is a little black spacer in between here that will clamp those poles together, like a big hug, you could say. And then when you're using, when you're using it, it won't stretch.
So it doesn't wobble or wriggle like it did before. It's nice and secure. Excellent.
So that's one way, but then you just keep, and then once you extend that pole, and then you unlock this lever, and then you go from there, and then till you hear it lock in again, and then...
Okay, so why is it important to watch out that that button pops through the hole? Like, why do I have to watch that?
All Silky saws are designed for each pole to be replaced, you could say. So say you have damaged your pole when just doing your gardening work, say a branch has fallen down and you've bent this side of the pole. I'll explain why it will bend here a little later, but answering Nita's question, to watch out for that button is all Silky Pole Saws are replaceable, which is amazing. So you want to just watch the button.
So if I don't watch the button when I'm extending the poles, then potentially I could take a pole apart without actually wanting to.
Yes.
Which I guess in a situation, if you've got the like 7.7 metre pole saw and I'm doing maybe the last pole, that would kind of be frustrating to have 3 poles fall to the ground. So that's why it's important to watch that hole. Great.
Yes, good point, Nita. But they are super easy to put back together as well, you can say.
And so all these poles are replaceable, so I can pick any of the poles.
Any pole.
Some clever person drive over one of them.
Yeah. Great friend, they are.
Yeah.
So because there's a little space, a little black triangle that's inside, that is squeezing all the poles together. You want to put that on its belly, so it's all nice and flat, to have a clear runway for the pole to slide down. So have the lever facing the ground, and Nita will help guide it. So you want to put it on an angle, and pop it in, and then you press the button, and it's press the little button so you can slide through, and then away you go. You have a nice, secure, locked pole saw. Okay, so say you finished your pruning job, and you want to collapse the pole saw the same way that we like to extend it. You want to start from the smallest pole and work your way down to the largest pole. And there goes the roof. We might sound crazy, that it's ridiculous that we have to start at the smallest pole saw and work your way down to the largest pole saw. Like, you don't, well, I'm going to explain an easier way, and you can extend it from the smallest to the largest without putting the pole saw on the ground.
It's a little bit of a trick again, like we did with extending it. Shenae did the little trick. We're going to do the same trick on the way back.
Yeah, so for me to actually make this work properly, I'm going to extend it a little further.
I'll help with guiding from this end.
Extend it, extend it, extend it, extend it. Yeah, there we go. So, it's going to reach.
Okay.
Okay, that is it. Now you know our showroom is no longer.
So we're pretending that this is fully extended now.
And it's way up in the air.
I'm going to stay down here so that Shenae's not having to use her muscles.
So it's way up in the air. Probably can't see from there. Because you are closest to the end of the handle, you start collapsing from the biggest one down. And the same with the trick that we were explaining before. You want to roll it down, so I'll demonstrate. So unlock it, and then you want to scroll, stop, until you can see the button. And then you can have the second clamp housing in hand's reach. Make sure this button is closed, because this will stop the other poles from falling down. And then you press the button. Oop. Unlock it first, don't do what I did. Unlock it so you can let the pole saw slide in. And then press the button and push until you see this one. And then you lock this one. And then you press, and then you unlock the second one. And then you push. And then you'll see, and then you're back to, probably put this on the floor now. And then you're back to the smallest pole again. So then that way, that's our little
So it's all
trick.
like hands reach now, but you're still fully compacting down now the smallest to the biggest.
Yes. So you make sure these two levers are locked, so the other poles don't slide down, and then you press the button, and then you hear it lock. And you don't want to close this lever yet, as the blades will just stop sliding through. The poles, sorry, will stop sliding through. So then you unlock the second one, and put the, whoopsie daisy, and then you put the little, make sure the button pops out, and then now you lock the last one, and then you slide it all the way back in, and then you lock all the poles secure tightly. If you already have a pole saw at home, and you've noticed that the lever isn't locking down the way it used to or should be. You don't have to buy a whole new pole itself. You can just replace the little black triangle, little black rectangle that's in the center here. So that's a nice easy fix. I think pretty sure we have a YouTube video on how to replace the little spacer on YouTube. So easy peasy.
And actually, speaking of that, Shenae's also done a little video on YouTube about when she mentioned earlier about the holes potentially stretching around those buttons. You've done a video explaining how that happens and how to sort of figure out why that's happening and all those sorts of things. So that's a good one to watch too if you do have that problem of those holes stretching. That video will go into more detail about that. I was also thinking when you were talking before about when you collapse this, not to close those levers, because as Shenae mentioned earlier, when you're closing those levers, it's squeezing that pole and actually changing the shape of it a little bit. And what it'll also do is if you close those levers as you're bringing the poles down together, it'll actually stop that button from popping back up. And we do have customers ringing us from time to time going, my button won't pop back up. And we're like, just open the levers. And all of a sudden it'll go pop and it'll pop up again. So you just want to, as Shenae said, leave those levers open until it's fully compacted down and then close them all down again.
Yeah. You probably heard me say before about a branch falling down onto your pole saw. You need to explain that one because I'm a little bit tongue-tied.
So the Hayate pole saw, which we've also got a video I think coming out soon on more detail, but it, along with the other ones, are designed to be quite sort of sturdy and strong, but their strength means that there's sort of strength in some situations more so than in others. So with the pole saw, it's designed to be used, as Shenae said, in this upright position with these levers facing you. So if a branch comes and falls, the idea is that it hits this part of the blade. Now, obviously you don't want a branch to come and fall on it, you don't want things to hit it, but sometimes it happens. So what Silky have done is they've made this part of the pole quite strong to sort of be able to survive as best as possible if something like that does happen. Not saying it's indestructible, but it will hopefully survive.
We're surprised at some of the damage that some people can do.
Shocking,
like,
shocking.
Don't you turn that one? Oh, we ran it over.
It's not going to survive that, no matter what angle it's on. But the thing is, you want to try really hard not to turn the pole saw like this. So you don't want an impact to happen on the side of the pole, because this side is nowhere near as strong as that top edge. So this is going to be the strongest part of this pole if it receives an impact like this. So whatever you do, you don't want to turn that pole saw on the side if you think that you're going to have an impact. So number one, try not to have an impact, but number two, if you are going to, try and make sure that pole is set up like this so that the impact is hitting this part of it, not the side.
Is it just the flat side of the pole saw that that strength?
So again, we were generalising with this video so that it works for all the Silky pole saws. So they're all slightly different in shape. So the Hayate has this particular feature of the flattened area here. So if we're talking Hayate, then yes. But if we're talking the other pole saws, then it's just that narrow side of the oval. That's going to be its strongest point. Yeah.
Yep.
Now with the blade, does anyone have issues getting that cover off?
A few people have dramas with taking off. Not really dramas, just
Get confused.
Yeah. We've taken
a tug of war.
getting the blades, getting the scabbard taken off the blades. You just hold it like normal, and then you just release your thumb. You push your thumb up over the screws here, and then slide the blade off.
The case, the scabbard.
Slide the scabbard off the slide the scabbard off the blade, and then that will just be an easy removal. And then when sliding the blade back on, it will probably get stuck on the bolts behind it. So you just want to help guide the scabbard over the bolts there, and just let it click it back in. And then you have a nice, safe
So pretty easy. It
blade.
just sometimes gets stuck on those screws because it's what holds the scabbard, the case on that blade.
Yeah, so just use your thumb, move it over the blade, and away you go. And then once you're putting the scabbard back on, so remember to help guide the blade back over these bolts here and slide it back in.
Good to go. Alright, so quick little recap. For Silky telescopic pole saws, when extending, have the levers facing you. Always extend from the smallest pole through to the biggest pole, and always put it away the same way.
Yeah.
Smallest pole to biggest pole. And then you can use Shenae's little trick, which really does make life a lot easier.
Yes, you can tell your friends.
Yeah. So thanks very much for watching this week. We hope that it has been informative and enjoyable and not too confusing.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week. You have a great week.
See ya.
pole saws except the telescopic one.
So,
My God. Take 3068.
ow! These are real hard. And housings, make sure they're locked, because if you don't have these two locked and you're trying to extend the last pole saw,
You mean collapse it.
collapse. Sorry, when you are trying to collapse.
Now, should they, Shenae, close this because they've fully completed that one now?
Yes.
That was not a trick question, no.
No.
You've forgotten. It squeezes the pole.
And then you slide it down. Oopsie daisy. I haven't done my job right. No. And then you
Hole and
Yes.
the button. So at this point you wouldn't actually be seeing the button because it was fully extended, but yeah, you can, because we sort of had it compacted down.
and then you pop that one.
Okay, I'll
The
show you
hole.
right now, remember, and then you'll see. Okay, so haven't we started that point again? Who knew this was so hard?
Who knew? Who knew?
Okay, go back.
I didn't see.